All right, how you guys doing today? Do me a favor, if you don't hear me, I'm going to use my hands in here. If you don't hear me, just let me know, because last time I did this, they cut down or shut off my sound feed. So today is 3/11, and it is the 7th anniversary of Fukushima. I will be using the word kaka a lot, and not because I want to be funny, but I'm trying to not have any voice box pick me up. So today is 7 years, and everything is just fine. I'm going to go through some slides. I'm pretty much going to blow your mind today. Hey, Jonathan. Hi, Vince. How you guys doing? And this is the power plant that had the accident. Now, the accident occurred on the 11th of March 2011. 20,000 people died. It resulted in a tsunami, and we had 3 meltdowns. These are the towers here. I'm going to show you guys some crazy stuff that you can't believe is happening. Just hang out here for a minute. This is what they used to look like. These two kind of much blew up. Okay, that was that big cloud, that plume that you saw when the explosion occurred. Now, this is where I got the thing, boom. This thing completely blew up. And by the way, they estimated like 20 billion for this. It's going to be in excess of 300 billion. They're figuring about 30 years. Okay, 30 years to clean this whole place up. They're on 7. Okay, and I'm going to show you where the Olympics are going to be. You're going to freak when you see this. But 30 years is when they're going to, they're supposedly going to end up finishing this. You're going to see what we're doing with all the soil too. These are all these vessels, all full of cesium Kaka-137 and cesium Kaka-138. Half-lives of 30 years. 30 years. And they're all filled up. These are all filled up. They don't know what to do with them. And these are the tanks that they're actually thinking about unloading into the Pacific Ocean. Now here, this is what you see today. This is just recently, they took these pictures, and they've actually built a canopy above this house here because it's just, weather's getting in here and it's leaking out. And the biggest problem right now, they just found out, is that water is going underneath this thing, this entire complex, and cesium Kaka-133, 34, and cesium Kaka-138 has been leaking in.
GPS signal lost.
Oh boy, sorry about that. Leaking into the Pacific Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean is almost dead. I'll show you some pictures and some data on that. This is what they're doing, and this is pretty interesting. You're trying to figure out what they're doing with all the waste. Well, they have 10 million one-ton bags. They're spreading them all over Japan, and what they're doing is, this is just a shot where you can see here where they're using a plastic membrane. So basically what they're doing is they're creating a waterproof membrane, putting down a buffer zone, and then on top of the buffer zone, they are loading up the one-ton bags. Now, if you think about it, these are little mini roofs, and there's 2 types of roofs. There's the roofs that leak and the ones that are gonna leak. And they expect to leave these out for 30 years. Now remember, the half-life of this, of the 134, is 30 years. I'm sorry, 138 is 30 years. So they're renting this land from farmers for 30 years. So in 30 years, that's a half-life. Then you got another 30 years for another half-life. So it's 100 years before you lose 70% of the radiation. So this is going to get good now. And you can see how these are temporary. They're just dropping these off. Okay. And now we're starting to get into some fields. Now these, hey Jeff, hey Vinko, Radisek, how are you? Alan, what's up? These are, they're putting them up at 5-foot intervals, and these go for football fields. And these weigh a ton apiece. Think about this, a ton. And one of these will fit in a little small pickup truck. There's 10 million of these as of now that we know of, and they're not even done. This is just one field, and you can see how they're stacking them up. They put them up 5 or 6 high, and this is just the soil they're scraping because the soil was all contaminated. Now I'm up here. If you look at this photo, all these are piles of these bags, and these are covered. These are all
GPS signal lost.
I'm sorry, but that's going to happen every few minutes. These are all covered. Now, I've been trying to figure out what this purple stuff is. I'm thinking this could be strontium. This could be something else. This could have been the rods that they're putting. But this is all soil, And these here, I'll show you those close-ups here in a second, what they're doing there. There's another airplane view. Look at this. These are all black bags, and once they fill up the space, they cover it up, okay? Now, think about this. 30 years. You think this stuff's going to leak? And oh, by the way, do you see all this here? This is agriculture. And guess what they're doing? They are still growing food in Fukushima, in that area, and their government won't let them eat their own food. But guess what? Our administration and the past administration both increased the levels of radiation in our food. You're going to need a Geiger counter to go buy food, man. And I actually checked into this whole Geiger counter thing, what kind of buy. And the Geiger counter that you need costs $6,000. Okay, I bought a few. They're not good enough for food. But anyways, we're not going to get into that right now. Now this is you're going to love this. This is the stadium that we're going to have our Olympics in. This is the baseball diamond. And guess what that is? Yeah, you got it. And it's all around. This is going to be where some of the Olympics will be held. And this fence here is a 10-foot fence, so you won't actually see it. And I'll show you the fence close up. Okay, this is Olympics. They're going to be playing tennis here. And if you throw a rock, you can hit the cesium Kaka 137 and cesium Kaka 138. Those are the two isotopes. That is the fingerprint for Fukushima, all right? Is the cesium that's their fingerprint. That's what we have. If you went in your backyard and tested your soil, you would find some cesium in it from the fallout of this place. When the first initial fallout that came between the 18th and the 25th. But anyways, there's a fence here all the way around, and they got this stuff. And, you know, there's going to be, here's a fence, too. Don't go over that fence, okay, because guess what's on the other side? My arrows are pointing to the stored material. Now, this is pretty crazy, okay? This is the Pacific Ocean, okay, and we are on the side of the accident, okay? And I got the USA and Canada out here, all right? Now, look at this. Now, this is how smart these people are. Now, you tell me if there's any brains here. What you got here is the Pacific Ocean here, right? And what do you see over here? Yeah, that's right. What happens if there's a tidal wave or another tsunami or a storm? That shit floats out. And they've already had this stuff float down rivers and stuff and lose these bags. Think about this. 10 million of these things all over Japan for 30 years on top of roofing membranes that I told you there's two types, the ones that leak and the ones that are going to leak. Now, here's another close-up. Here's your Pacific Ocean, and look what we got here. This is complete moronic. These people are morons. This stuff is going to float out into the Pacific Ocean as if it's not bad enough. I did a quick calculation here. This is pretty intense. And here, this area has approximately 600 tons. That's 600 tons, 600 bags. Think about 12 million. I can't count to 12 million. That's one bag, and they drop them off the roads, and they move them around. Now, this is pretty interesting right here. This, if you guys can't hear me and there's no sound, please